You did? Okay, well, we're live.
I was trying to post on Facebook, but it won't let me, so.
Well, we're on now. Okay. So people should start getting...
We did on YouTube, but...
Let's see here, I'm trying to get this thing set up. See if anyone comes on. Got 1, 2.
Who is?
Denise and Sean. Yeah, there's always. Hey there, how are you doing? Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Should be interesting. Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Hey, Randy. Hey, Mary.
Give a few minutes, let people get on here, and we haven't done a live in a few weeks, and it's been quite exciting, I would say, in a sense. Some good, some bad, but hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, Yanni.
Canadian Twigs here.
Hey, Canadian Twig, how you doing?
There's Louie and Barb. We are back in Michigan. Yeah, we're back in Arkansas today, 3 o'clock.
Finally.
We got here at 3, and still I've got all the issues getting everything cleaned up and getting all the covers on and all that. So that's going to be tomorrow. Oh, hey, 2 eggs. Long time no see. Yeah, really.
You guys drive fast.
I actually went and had dinner with them because we've been talking about it since we were working. So
we dreamed of it.
Hi, Mark.
Yes, I did.
Howdy, kids.
Hey, Mark.
What you watching? Nickelodeon?
Denise and Sean living. Yeah. How are you guys? You guys are first time commenters. I think. Where did my live go? Excuse.
Did you still on there?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're still getting people. Hang in. Keep commenting. Is it hot where you're at? It's actually comfortable here. I was surprised.
I am too.
Very
surprised.
Let's say that was part of our experience this year was the heat, much more than before. And
weird.
Pep Tank, hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Louie and Barbara, how you guys doing? You're back in Michigan, okay?
Yeah.
Pep Tank, yay!
Yeah, they miss us.
We miss you all too.
Yeah.
Y'all, we're back in Arkansas now. We can say that.
Yeah. I got my fix of Chicken Express today.
And thank you, Denise and Sean, for reminding people to thumbs up. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I guess we could tell our story.
Our sad story.
So
actually, we survived, so
we did. We went
okay.
to Kentucky. We did fireworks, and that was a pretty good time. Did pretty good there, and had fun and meet a lot of interesting people, and we had some interesting episodes. Sometimes you meet people that aren't real nice, but not always. It's very, very seldom. But had a couple instances this year that we never experienced before, but we'll talk about those at a later thing. The main thing is that I'd like to talk about tonight was after fireworks. The last 2 weeks. Darla was we were going to come back here, and Darla was going to get on a plane and fly to North Carolina and spend a week with our son. And while we were over in in Kentucky. I said, well, why don't we just motorhome's running good? Let's just go there and go see them together. We'll just do that. And she said, okay, well let's do that then. So we finished up, canceled the flight, got in the motorhome, and everything went wonderful. We were having a nice, easy cruise, and we were tired, and it was hot. Man, it was hot. And in fact, at night, the generator ran all night long, and during the day, the dash air was running. We got about an hour out from my son's place, and boom, the dash air quit working. And I've had the fans go bad, and
which
yeah,
3 years ago,
yeah,
when we were going to our son's,
we changed the fans.
We changed the fans because the air quit working.
So anyway, we just toughed it and we drove in and we got there. Well, the belt was gone for the compressor. So I thought, well, it probably just broke a belt. But then I trying to move the compressor and it was locked up. So crap. So anyway, it's hot as heck. It's humid in North Carolina, and I don't really know anybody there other than our son and his family. So I start working on coming up with a compressor, and of course, I called Spartan Chassis, and they wouldn't return my call. And I mean, AutoZone, those guys, I'm telling you, they used to be really good. I think anymore they just hire people that can look at a computer screen. It's pretty sad, the condition of that. But anyway, I don't want to neg out on anybody because it's not everybody, it's just a few. But anyway, I just started digging into it, and what I was trying to do is find one locally because we weren't going to be staying at my son's very long, just 4 days. So I found a for a cell, what was it, a cell tech, I think it was, compressor, and that's what it was supposed to be. And of course, nobody had one, and nobody could get one, and I couldn't get Spartan to call me back and tell me if there was something else. So
they never did call you.
No, and I contacted this company that was near my son's place, and I got this guy. His name, I can't remember his name now. Todd. It was Todd. Yeah, it was Todd. Cool guy. I mean, and these guys are all motorcycle guys that worked in this parts place. And I got to talking with him, and anyway, I said, well, he said, no, I don't carry that brand. And so I hung up with him, and I started doing some more research, kept researching and looking into more things and more things. And finally, I got a couple of numbers that I thought might work. So I thought, I'm going to call this guy back. So I called him back. I said, hey, Todd, this is Bill, the guy you were talking to. Hey, how you doing? I said, I got some numbers. Can you run them? So he ran the first one, and that didn't click. And then he ran the second one. That didn't click. Third one, he says, yeah, I think I can get that. He says, let me see. And he types in, he goes, I think I have that one.
Let me go put my hands on it.
Let me go put my hands on it. He comes back and says, I've got it. I said, all right, great. I said, where are you at? And he gave me his address and stuff. I asked my son. He said, well, that's in Charlotte. Of course, now this is like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're about to close. They said they would wait for me. They close at 5. So her and I jumped in the pickup, and no problem. We got there early. We had plenty of time. We made it pretty quickly. And they had everything, and we got all this stuff, and they were super cool. And actually, we got ready to leave, and I forgot a box full of stuff. We had to back up and go over. We were talking too much. Anyway, I went in and got it, and we got on the road. And I'm telling you what, it was like Death City. It was scary getting home, huh?
Well, I mean, yeah, people were driving.
And every off ramp,
Charlotte's a big city.
Every off ramp was jammed full of cars.
Dead stop.
and people were driving in the dirt and going around you and
trying to cut in front.
cut in front. So finally, it was just where we were at. It was a dead stop, and we didn't know why. So I said,
Hi, Amanda.
"We're going to get out of here." There's Phil. Hey, Phil. So
Hey, Phil.
we get, and we go, and finally make it back to my son's, and now the challenge begins. I start checking. I normally carry a set of gauges. Hey, Ronald.
Hot Bill. Wow.
We had gauge. I usually have a set of gauges and a vacuum pump. Well, I took them out. So I called AutoZone
and I left them here.
They're here. They're in our storage.
In Arkansas.
So I called AutoZone. They said, "Yeah, we got gauges and we got a vacuum pump, and you put up what they do, and it's really cool that they do this. This is one thing about AutoZone. If you ever need a tool and you don't have it, if they have a lot of different loaner tools, and they'll actually loan them to you. They'll charge you for them, but then when you bring them back, they give you all your money back." So I went and got the stuff. I had already put the pump on, checked everything all out. Everything was looking good, and then we made a measurement for a belt, and we went to get the vacuum pump and the gauges, and the belt they had was real narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So we hit like 2 other AutoZones on the way back, and they didn't have it. But we finally ended up the next day getting the right belt, and we had everything, and it was hot as heck. And I was back there evacuating, and I finally got it all and loaded it in and got it working. And everything was, it's not working as good as it was, but I'm gonna get my gauges.
I think you need to put more free on.
Either more or less, one of the two.
Okay.
And
Ronald says high, not hot.
Yeah. Well, he said hot Bill. Some people are weird. Anyway, so we got it fixed, and then we got to spend one day. I got to spend one day just kind of hanging out and with my son and stuff. And then next day we got up and we left, and we got 80 miles.
Half an hour.
Half an hour. So like 40 miles away, 30 miles away. Anyway, and we go to make a right-hand turn, and we make this right-hand turn, and we hear boom. And I mean, the motorhome shook, and I'm like, oh man. So I pulled over right away. I knew something wasn't right. We open the door and we go out, and I'm looking around the motorhome, and everything looks good on the motorhome. And I look at the truck, and the left front is sitting like this. I go, I think we had a blowout. So we walk around the truck, and we get over there, and Darla looks and goes, the tire's on fire. And I go, what?
She goes, there's flames.
There's flames. So for you that don't know, I've had a blood clot, and I have a bad leg and neuropathy and all this stuff. So I go hobbling around. I run into the motorhome, and we had these little cans, fire suppression cans, which are awesome. I should do a video on those because it really worked good. And I came out there and I started spraying. Well, it looked like the fire was out.
It just looked like that.
And then we were standing there and in the meantime,
I'm on the phone calling 911.
We're trying to get the fire, and they're asking questions like, well, what color is the truck? And what is it, a standard cab?
It seemed like the
does it have a cigarette lighter? How much do you weigh?
Like you were asking stupid questions because you're in the heat of the moment. Yeah, you just want them there.
I'm telling them, I go, by the time I get done answering all your questions, this truck is going to burn to the ground. I am going to put the fire out myself. So I had, anyway, I was just freaking out. So the can ran out. So I had another can.
Back.
So I run back around. I come back, and this time I shot up through the wheel, and I hit the brake caliper, and that put it out. And about 5 minutes later, we're standing there talking. Well, what are we going to do?
5,000 degrees too.
Yeah, and it's hot as heck. And now we got this wheels. The front of the truck is just roaring hot. And here comes the fire department, and they got the sirens in the truck and everything else. And this guy comes up, and he's full geared out. And I'm looking I go, dude, are you hot? I mean, it wasn't like that was the obvious thing to say, was it? He's like, I'm frying. Anyway, he ended up getting underneath there with a water.
He took that off.
Yeah,
and he got one of those big fire extinguishers that
with
they
just
carry
water,
with them.
just spray water, and he sprayed it real good, got it pretty much cooled down
Yeah.
a little bit, and then there was like three of them. There was a captain, and then there was a guy that had the suit on, and this other young kid. And I had grabbed the jack, and they got right in the middle, and they lowered the tire down and pulled it out from under the truck, my spare, and they got the tire off the front of the truck. And,
hey, Ron, Daryl.
And hey, Ron, how you doing?
We've had adventures.
Yeah, we're telling an adventure. So if you missed this from the beginning, I'm not going to start at the beginning, but you might want to, when this thing goes into repeat, watch the beginning so you get it.
You can watch it double speed.
Yeah. Anyway, so they pull the wheel off, and I mean, the brake caliper is wasted, and the rotor's wasted, and the wheel bearing's wasted, and we put the other wheel on, and
we had to get off the road.
We needed to get off the road.
And across the street was a cemetery, so.
And so we don't know this, but I said to Dar, I said, we ought to just pull over here into this cemetery parking lot, and we'll call Steve, our son, and see if he can come. Hey, Steve Moran, and maybe he could help me get some parts and stuff. So in the meantime, we were calling and seeing if they had the parts, and they did. My son was on the way, but we take off, and I could feel this weird like this with the truck. Anyway, I was going really, really slow. But we got in this parking lot, and when we got out, I went over, and they had put my truck in first gear. It's a manual, and I was cranking that motor. And luckily, the guy was telling me, "Yeah, you just go down here 2 blocks and make a left, and you come back."
We would have done that.
If we would have done that, we would have blown the engine up. So anyway, we did blow the engine up, didn't hurt it. We got into neutral. Anyway, so my son comes, and we are out, and I found this one little tiny spot of shade, and that's where I parked the truck. It's got no brakes, and I'm afraid to move it any further. So him and I get in his car. We go and get most of the parts. They didn't have everything. They only had. I was going to replace. What had happened is what caused all this is my wonderful Blue Ox Patriot, which I will never recommend that company for anything ever again. They make not good stuff. As far as I'm concerned, I had problems with that Patriot for 3 freaking years when I first got it. And the only reason why I got it, I actually got an exchange. I called them up, and I talked to their manager or whatever she was, and she got real nasty with me. And I said, well, you know what? Let me explain something to you, okay? I work for Brett's RV and Marine, and we got a great big showroom full of Blue Ox stuff. And I said, you know, I'm about ready to box all this stuff up and send it back to you and cancel our account. Oh, well, we'll take care of it for you, you know. So they ended up charging me. I sent it back to them, and they said there was nothing wrong with it. They sent it back to me, and they sent me a new one because that other one was junk. And it was fine for a few years. But
this time when he went to put it on, it had a code.
It didn't have anything. The screen was blank.
Yeah.
And so I shut it off, and I just said, okay, I'm just going to leave it in there for looks. But I left it plugged into the cigarette lighter, and it must have did something because it applied that brake as tight as it would go.
Never let off.
And never let off. And that's what caused everything to get so hot. We got to do a video and show that tire and everything else, because if you saw my truck right now, the people that know me personally know how I take care of my stuff. My truck does not look like my truck. It looks like Afghanistan.
When all that started happening, I thought I should probably be videoing this. And once everything was under control, and Bill was, trying to put the flame out, and then the fire department came, I did get some clips of that stuff, so I got to put something together. But you got to do some other stuff too. So anyway,
my son and I, we worked on that thing for a few hours,
It was more than a few hours. It was like 6+ hours.
in that hot sun. Well, it was real hard to get apart because it had been so hot and everything else. We finally got it put together, but we couldn't get brakes. And we still had the original buried uh, assembly on the right side. We managed to replace the left side, which was the side that the driver's side, which caught on fire, and the rotor and the brake caliper. And on the other side, we didn't do anything. We left it alone. And I said, we're just gonna. I released all the brake calipers and everything, so nothing was dragging. And we were on our way to Georgia. So we got in the motor home.
We didn't have we couldn't get any pressure built in the brakes. Well, and then Bill discovered it was because the brake lines on the driver's side was leaking.
No, that was later. Yeah, that was later.
Because I told you,
no, it wasn't.
Whatever, anyways.
So anyway, we left the right side alone. The left side, we put it together, but we didn't try it. We didn't bleed it or nothing. So we hooked it up. I drove it up to the truck, and
no brakes.
If you don't know how hard it is to use your left foot for the clutch and push the emergency brake with your left foot, you should try that sometime. It's an interesting experience. You think you're going to crash into the back of your motorhome. But anyway, where I parked the motorhome, it was kind of on a little bit of an uphill, and so I could let off, and it would start slowing down, and then I could push it.
Right.
So we got all hooked up, visited with my son for a while. People that were living in the cemetery were cool.
They were so quiet.
Nobody complained. It was really cool. So we get on the road, and we get to my youngest daughters, and I back the truck into her ground or front yard, and she doesn't. It's a great place to go in the wintertime, but in the summertime when it's like a
the house 90 was built in the 40s, yeah. So the electric is from the 40s.
Yeah, there's no.
Try as they might, and they tried really hard to make it.
There was no 30 amp anywhere.
So we ran the generator.
Our motorhome is 50 amp, but we could have ran one air on 30. Oh, excuse me, on 30. Fajitas are coming up.
I'm sure people are happy to hear that.
It was screaming hot and high humidity. And I was miserable. It was so miserable. And all I had was my little, like a regular
jack.
Yeah,
but it's change the tire.
Yeah, but it's like a floor jack, but it's real small. And luckily I had that. But I got a real long pipe I put on it so I could get it to go. And my son-in-law, he had a piece of plywood, and we slid it underneath there. And he's not mechanical, but I'll tell you what, he was a big help. He really.
Brian Shiloh, yes. Good comment.
Yeah. So anyway, we get the wheel off on the right side, and we found an AutoZone, and they had the new hub that we needed.
The rest of the things we needed.
So we drove there, and we got the new hub, and we came back, and we replaced everything on the right side. And I'm going to put.
And our son-in-law was helping him then.
Right. And I'm going to go put the caliper on the right side, and I'm going, well, the bleeder's at the bottom. Did they give me
two wrong ones?
Two
right.
Two lefts, or
two right,
well, it'd be two lefts. Okay. Anyway, come to find out, we put it together, and I tried to bleed it that way. Well, it wasn't going to bleed. So I finally pulled the other side off, and we realized they were on the wrong side. My son and I had put them in our haste and put it on the wrong side. So we put them on the right side. We got everything all set up. It's all new stuff, new bearings, new new rotors, new calipers, and we go to bleed the brakes, and it's leaking. Well, the brake lines were bad, both sides. So he runs, and he goes to like 3 parts stores, and he comes back, and he had gone to Napa, which they were like $100 for 2.
They were 41 and 41.
Yeah.
Plus brake lines were.
Yeah. So anyway, we got brake light, and we had already gone through 2 bottles of brake fluid before we figured out what was going on. So anyway, we got that stuff, and I said, I'm not doing no more tonight. I'm done.
And he did.
So went, took a shower, and it just kind of spent the rest of the night kind of kicking back. The next morning I went out, and boom, didn't take me any time at all. And I also, when we had gone to AutoZone, I had noticed when we were up that the tie rod ends were, I mean, they were really moving, and it's from towing. So I got 2 new tie rod ends, and I called the guy about coming in that day to have the tie rod ends put on and have it aligned. And anyway, it didn't happen that day. So that's where we had all the problems. And then the next day I went, did the brake lines, and it took a few minutes, and bada bing, bada boom, the brakes were working. So the next day, what we had done was all fixed.
Right.
And I called in the morning, and they said,
alignment.
Yeah, they said, bring it. So I take it over there, and I drop it off. The guy says, oh, it'll be ready at 10 o'clock.
This took longer than it was supposed to. But...
And I called him about 10 o'clock, and he said, well, he's still working on it. It's going to be a little while longer. I said, okay. So then I said, well, come on, family. There was a Mexican restaurant they knew of that was like the next complex is the company that was doing the alignment. And when we were driving into the complex, I could see my truck.
They were working
on the alignment rack, and the taillights were on, so they had the thing holding the steering wheel. So
it's the brake genie. It was the thing that sits on the floor and applies the brake to the pedal.
Yeah.
Jason's
they call it the Patriot. But anyway, so we go in and we have nice lunch. They drop me off at the place because they called me during lunch and said it's ready, and I go in, I walk in, and the service writer, he's looking at me, and he's like real nervous. I'm like, what the heck? He goes,
it's a bad news.
He goes, well, I got a little bad news. And I go, bad news? I said, is there something wrong? He goes, no. He goes, the guy was working on your truck is a new guy, and he's not familiar with the equipment. And I from what I understand, he went the back off of the lift, and the truck fell. And when it fell, it crushed up the bottom of the bed right behind the cab. And my truck doesn't have any dents in it. It has 2 little, one in the hood and one in the roof from hail. And now I've got 2 quarter panels with damage on the bed. And anyway, this is the short story anyway. Luckily, I'm not doing the long one. So
save that for the video.
Yeah. So anyway, now I said, okay, well, they're real cool. They say they're going to take care of it. I got to go get an estimate to get it done and stuff. So yesterday we got in the truck. I mean, in the motorhome. We hooked up the truck, said goodbye to everybody, and we hit the road. And everything was going along real good. And we found out there was a Texas Roadhouse in Tupelo, Mississippi. So we got off the freeway and we go, oh, man, I made this real sharp turn in this cul-de-sac. And we parked. And we went in and had a nice dinner. And we were discussing. I said, I really don't want to go through Memphis. So she said, well, we could do this other route. So we start doing this other route.
Okay.
No, I said, it better be good.
No, he said, okay.
So anyway, we get going down the road, and the trees are low, and the road is narrow, and it's going.
It's like they put like sections of road, like
chunks of concrete.
Yeah,
it was
like
narrow.
Set it up one against the other.
And I'm not for like a mile.
No.
We're talking 75 miles, 80 miles at a shot. And it's real narrow, and it's.
What time did we leave?
What?
Cindy.
In the morning.
Well, I know that, but was it 9, 10?
About 9 o'clock.
So it's 10:30 at night now.
Yeah.
He's driven the whole day.
Except for when we ate.
Except for when we ate.
And it's it's back and forth and back and that's how we went all the way to Georgia. Was you go 3 miles, you make a left. You go 3 miles, you make a right.
Because we weren't sure what the truck was going to do. We didn't want to be broke down on the side of a major highway. So,
yeah. So anyway,
I don't know how much better it would have been broke down on a 2-lane country road. That's what we did.
There's so much more to the story than what we're telling you, but we're just giving you the low lives of it. So anyway, finally last night, I mean, I told her, I said, we've got to find a place to stop. And all of a sudden there was a closed, it looked like it had been open in years, truck scale. I said, there it is. And then we pull in there and it's got no parking.
No parking.
But then all of a sudden there was like an area where it didn't have any signs. I said, I'm parking there. So we did like kind of curled up and parked so I could look and see out the front window here if anyone was around the truck.
Except for the cars that occasionally would go, guys, this.
Yeah, but we had to listen to them torture themselves going down the road.
But they were in cars.
But we went to sleep and it was cool enough we didn't have to run the jet. Because now when we were at my daughter's house for 4 days, the generator never shut off. We ran it continuously because you
did shut it off.
Well,
at least once.
I had to shut it off when I was outside working.
No, you shut it off in the middle of the night. We opened the window one time.
But during the day when I was working on the truck, I had to shut the generator off because the exhaust pipe was aimed right in my face. So anyway, we
and yes, Jason, highlights.
We laid down, went to sleep.
The whole thing were low lights for him.
John Combs is going away. All right, good night, John.
Love you, Yanni. Love you, Patty.
Anyway,
good to see you on here too.
We wake up this morning, we get up, and it's beautiful. Yeah, and we make coffee and have something to eat and get showers and get dressed. Then we go out and turn right, go about a mile, and here's the Mississippi River. We go up over this beautiful bridge into a town called Helena, Arkansas. We actually ended West Helena, Arkansas. And we turned left, and it was smooth Arkansas roads.
Maddie, welcome.
Hey, Maddie. And we drove. We got home. We had no more problems. No more problems with the truck, the motorhome, or nothing. And we drove all the way home. And
it rained off and on, but it was a piece of cake.
Yeah. Well, it didn't rain today. See, I'm still delirious. It's going to take me a while to get back on my feet here because I'm like ding dong. But
we're back. We're safe. We're happy.
Yeah. And when we first got to Kentucky, I fixed the stairs.
Yes. Well, we got to fireworks. Which fireworks, by the way, were a good, successful
Yeah, it was a good season.
And 2 eggs, 1 basket, and Mellow Cat also did fireworks, and they survived. Yeah. That's all I'll say. If you want to know more, you'll have to ask them, or they'll have to get their own channel.
But I got that. I had a relay blowout on those fans again. I replaced that. I fixed that, and then I did the service. I put on the air dryer. So all that stuff worked great from then on. Right. So I mean, basically this year was when this rig was rolling. Every day something had a major failure.
Some days are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So, but I'm still here. I'm still alive. So there was a few times I was ready to just go in the bedroom and shoot myself in the head. But I thought, you know what? I could just get out of this real quick, go say hi to God, and be done with this, you know. But anyway, it was quite the experience.
And once again, this is all mechanical. This RV is mechanical. And while Bill has the knowledge to fix it, he's an old timer too, and it's getting harder and harder. So
physically, it's
hard.
My arms are
That's
all.
why we were really thankful that our son helped us that one day, and then our son-in-law helped us the next couple of days.
Yeah, and both of them were awesome.
They really were.
I mean, they were,
Good
because
kids.
I know how bad it sucked doing it because it was so hot. Of course, I mean, I was having to do a lot of the, well, all the thought processing, but they were helping with the
The
torque
muscle part.
because I didn't have a big enough impact to pull the
Right.
wheels off, and then we had to torque everything, and I had a torque wrench, but we actually, Steve and I, my son and I, we broke a socket trying to get
Yeah.
them wheels off. So anyway, but everything got torqued and Loctited, and now all I got to do is see if I can get that truck clean again. And then it's got to have to go into the body shop and be body worked and painted.
You are right, Steve Moran. You're too old for this.
Yeah, and I
really hope that the
it's discouraging.
alignment company calls, because this happened on Friday. And so, okay, we'll cut them slack for the weekend. Hopefully the owner calls on Monday, because it would be uncool to go any further than.
It was basically 1,500 miles of hell.
Yeah.
Is what it was, and dangerous.
Yeah.
It could have been really. The people that came to our rescue were pretty good. The firemen guys were, and our son and our son-in-law, and
calamity of
you got to spend time with the grandchildren, and
yeah, they're so cute.
And I got a little time with them, and that's always a positive. But anybody ever wants to travel with us?
We need some brawn.
When we had the motorcycle shop, and like Sturgis time, everybody would go to Sturgis, and we go somewhere else because they don't want to work on bikes all the way to Sturgis and back.
Yeah.
It's always some idiot that I never worked on their bike. Some guy brings it along with us, and then I'm working on some guy's bike for free. They never offer you nothing. So we always did our own thing, and then people found out what we were doing, and they're like, "Hey, we want to go with you." Well, yeah, we're going to be leaving on Wednesday. Meet us here at 9 o'clock if we leave on Tuesday, because we just didn't want to do it.
Because I wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Either. Hi, Rosebud.
Oh, Rosebud's there. Hi.
And yes, Steve, we are very thankful for our kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids. We have great kids and great grandkids. Well, not great grandkids, but we have great
wonderful
grandkids. And yeah,
or not.
we didn't get to see them all, but we got to see 4 of them. Right? Oh, you consider
Charlotte, Emmy,
yeah, okay. Well, Charlotte and Charlotte's a new grandchild. But anyway. But she's 13 or 12 or 13.
Caleb and Sadie and Gideon and Charlotte and Emmy, actually 5.
And Cage was happy when I shut off the generator because he got to go in the house and scavenge for food. So, of course, you kept tied to his chair, so he wasn't very happy about that.
Anyways, it's been a really, really long, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? How long have we been gone? We've been gone 8 weeks.
Yeah, it was 2 months.
Yeah.
Basically 2 months.
We're tired.
And there was an awful lot to this trip, and then working in the store, we had one night where I had to back down 6 young guys, but they were kind of being very aggressive about what they wanted to pay for stuff, and I just told them, "We're going to happen." I had to walk them out the door, and they
now you got Ron scared to come here.
Well, you should be scared to come here. What do we do here?
When you go to Quartzsite, so I can follow you, Mechanicsville.
Who said that?
Ronald Sova. How is your RV, by the way, Ronald? How's it doing? Because you just bought a new to you one, I remember.
Well, I'll tell you, Mechanic Bill made one big mistake. He forgot his gauges in in his
You didn't forget them. You just
evacuation.
felt like you weren't going to need them, and I don't know why you would feel like that. But
well, because I had put the
you know
new
what's
clutch
probably
on
going to
it.
happen? He's probably going to find them in there anyways. But it doesn't matter because
No, they're not in the motorhome. I looked. They're in the
one of the things
storage.
that he didn't tell you was that when he used that vacuum evacuator thing that we got from AutoZone, he lost the little cap that needed to go with it.
No, that was the gauge on the gauges.
Yeah, that needed to go
Brand
back
new.
with it. And thank God our grandson and his keen eyes was able to find
Cost
it.
me $1, but it was worth it. But it was sitting, and you have to take it off so you can bleed out the air out of the fill line, and it got bumped, and I saw it. I looked on the ground, I saw it, but you had to realize that there was an area that barely enough to squeeze through the ladder between my son's gate, because we had to back in, and I mean, and I've got just a little opening like this I'm working in, but it was okay because the ground was down, so I was looking straight in at it, and I was working straight on. So it worked out okay. I had to have a stool when I went to hook up the gauges and stuff because they got up higher. But I dropped that stupid thing and
could not find it. What happened was it was in an indent in the grass.
Yeah.
Under the grass, in a tiny little indent that just fit that cap. Our grandson found it. Glad you guys are home safe. Sounds like it was a crazy ride, but glad you got to spend time with the family. That was a perk. It really was.
Yeah. Well, the only problem I had with the motorhome, was that compressor, AC compressor. And you got to realize this motorhome is 30 years old. And when I got this thing, the dash air didn't work. And I fixed the dash air.
Yeah.
And that was because the fans weren't working, the condenser cooling fans, and the fans were burnt out. So and I couldn't get the same fans, and that the thing about it was the mounting. So I had to take the new fans apart and put them in the old bracketry and put them up, and that's what's in there still now.
Working well.
And then when we got there, I noticed that the fans weren't working again, and that was another thing. I don't even think I should tell this, but I'm a truth teller, so I'll tell you. I get everything all hooked up and ready so that the next day I could evacuate, recharge, and I can't get the compressor to kick on. I'm like, what the heck? And there's no power. So man, I'm checking in the back and I don't see anything. So then I go to the fuse box here in the dash, and all the fuses are good. There's a fuse panel in the bedroom, and I check all those fuses, but they're not tied to it. So then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a switch. So I take the dash apart, and the switch is good. Everything is working. And then I realize that up here in the front, there's an AC switch when it loses pressure, this is an amateur mistake, but I just spaced it. And what happens when there's no freon and there's no pressure, it shuts the compressor off. And I checked it. I went, oh, okay, there it is, man. And I put everything back together. So I spent 2.5, 3 hours doing that. But it was just nutty time.
Yeah,
it was just been
it really was.
Between my cognitive, what is it? Cognitive facilities in my brain, and in other words, I'm just getting to that stage where I can hide my own Easter eggs. That's what I always say. But,
Mark said, how many pounds of freon did it take?
Well, there's a lot of dispute on that. So some people said 6, but I think that's too much. And I saw where someone said, well, it takes about 4.5 pounds. And then another guy said between 3 and 4 pounds. So I put 3 pounds in, and we checked it. I had a thermometer in the dash, and it was blowing about 60. So I put another pound in, so I had 4 in, and then it was blowing about 50. and I don't know. It may be a little bit too much, or it still may need a little more. But it was working, and it felt cool, and so we went with it. It was not the best. It wasn't as good as it was, but excuse me.
Ronald Silva said that their motorhome is running good. Everything's working fine so far. That's why I want to follow you guys. How long can it last?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You know what? I have worked on this motorhome since the day we got it, and I mean, I've learned how to reseal windshields.
Hi, Scarlett.
I've
Welcome.
oh, Scarlett's here. I've learned air conditioning on these things. I've learned brakes. That's the next thing. Airbags. Refrigerators. I've replaced what 3 or 4 cooling units in the refrigerator.
Not because of us.
Not because of us. I did it right, but they
did it wrong.
They did it wrong. Water heater.
Water heater. That was at fireworks too.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, a guy charged me $300 to TIG weld. That's all right. I gave him fireworks. I got away.
way cheaper.
Got a good deal.
With that hot sun, the motorhome was hot coming home. It's just not blowing as cold out of the dash as it was before the compressor went away. There's got to be a reason for it. But we were still comfortable. I think.
It wasn't great. I'll tell you what it wasn't good is when the sun was shining on the windshields.
Right.
And coming home. So the secret is an RVer. When you're heading east, you leave later in the morning. When you're heading west, you leave early in the morning because
rising sun in the east when you're going that way, setting in the west. It's
and that's why we had to go to Texas Roadhouse to cool off.
Things about when we were navigating, and this was not my fault, not my fault, was we got on a 247 west. We needed to go west. We're coming back west. And it kept saying we were on 247 east. And this one wanted to whip a U-turn and go back the wrong way.
Because originally you told me we need to take the 247 east to be going west.
That's what GPS said. And it never fixed it. And sign after sign kept saying 247 west that we were on, heading west into the sun. So I knew we were headed the right direction. But she kept saying that we needed to be on the 247 east. Anyway, it was a great day.
I didn't check the in-cap air filter.
I just got here, so did y'all check the in-cab air filter? Oh.
On the motorhome, this doesn't have one.
It's starting to sound like Biden. When you were cognitive.
Yeah, well, he had to resign.
Happy Hot Dog Day. Thanks, Scott. Welcome. I thought today was ice cream day. That's what Dairy Queen told me anyway. I remember when you lost the windshield. Yes, Maddie. Fortunately, that stayed stuck.
Yeah.
We do still have problems with it, but I don't know what we'll ever do with it. I can wait till it gets shattered, and then
that was in the Mojave Desert. And that thing popped out in this corner, and it actually bent the windshield. I don't know how you bend the windshield. And our stupid insurance lady that we no longer use did not reinstate our windshield insurance.
When you get an insurance policy on your motorhome, it doesn't cover glass. So you have to get an addendum to add glass.
Yeah, Scarlett, this motorhome, they didn't make filters for the air conditioning back when this thing was built. And my truck doesn't have one either. But we put my brother, his Dodge truck, we put one. There's actually a kit where you could cut out in the all the stuff underneath. We put a filter in his. So
Ron Darrell, yes, you are correct.
Yes, dear Bill. Yeah. How's that new puppy doing? What did we name her?
What did we name her?
What did you name that little girl? Her Marion.
My
she has a female Boston.
Who's Cage's sister?
Yeah, who's Cage's sister, and she lives in Los Alamitos,
California.
California.
It's very populated there.
And what happened?
A coyote jumped her 7-foot fence and took out after her Boston. Got its foot, and it got a cut on its foot, but she's okay. Mostly because her grown son was in the backyard running after the dog and trying to scare the coyote off. But how terrifying.
Well, Scott, this year at fireworks was a lot better.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a lot better. I mean,
is it too early to sign up for fireworks?
We had a lot of inventory. Well, you know what? If you want to go work now, you could have our store.
Yeah, he
needs someone for like 6 months.
You got to have a tow vehicle, and you need to be a couple. Yeah. That has changed since when we were trying to find
no more.
People.
Well,
no more solos.
There will be singles, but they
selling.
will do delivery and setup and stuff like that. Security. Yeah, and security.
Nice security.
Steve McLean. Okay, I'm here. You guys can get started now. Yeah,
that's our hero. Whatever.
There he is. He was one of our heroes. Yeah. You're going to have to go back and watch from the beginning because I'm not going to tell this whole darn story, and you don't know half of it. You know a lot. I called him and give him updates, but there's man, last night was crazy.
You named her Lady. Aw, that's a good name. That is a good name. She is the little one, little tiny lady. Getting better every day. Ah, awesome.
Yeah, Cage is getting worse every day. He ate steak for 2 days.
Leftovers.
Yeah, with that Texas Roadhouse. I got a big prime rib like this, and she got filet mignon.
I got medallions.
And then today, Chicken Express. Cage got chicken today. And what were those, hush puppies? He didn't like it, though.
Anyway, Steve, we want to publicly thank you in front of all our subscribers for your help. You're a blessing and a half, and we love you so much.
Yeah. Steve McLean. That's
my son.
My son.
My son.
All right, Scott. Hey, Scott, if you want in, we are going to be doing recruiting. We're going to Quartzsite.
With a new rig? Fantastic.
We're going to Quartzsite, and we're going to be recruiting for Sky Thunder fireworks. And it's going to be, there were a lot of,
stuff.
There's a lot of this kind of stuff this year. And it wasn't really the people that were working the fireworks stand. It was the night security for the tents and stuff like that, because there were tents where they couldn't have RVs parked there.
It's in Arizona. 2 eggs.
Well, you're in, Scott. You know that.
What did you think of that place? Still wasn't too thrilled.
Where?
TNL Butcher. The butcher shop.
Here?
What dates? For Quartzsite, you mean? Quartzsite RV Show 2025.
Yeah, it's 16th, I think.
No, don't say anything until I find out for sure. I'm going to confuse people. The 18th to the 26th, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the tent.
Quartzsite, like the stone, the quartz, and then the word site. Yeah. Arizona.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was Ronald said they had it spelled differently, but
yeah, Court, C-O-U-R-T.
It's like it sounds,
Right. I want in, Scott says. Okay, you're first on the list.
Yeah, you're in. You're already in. Don't worry about that, Scott.
You might ought to talk to Mike if you want to nail down something for sure. But yeah, we'll definitely let him know.
You see what Ron said?
Only problem is she can jump on. No.
half kangaroo. Well, you have to do what we did to Cage. We broke one of his legs.
Pep Pink says, lazy days, here we come. Woohoo! Definitely. I'll bring my Edward Scissors hands for Wendy. Speaking of subscribers named Wendy, those of you that believe in prayer, please pray for our friend Wendy. Train Wendy.
Yeah.
Her name is Wendy also.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Well, Peptic, he
No,
knows him.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know that anyone else knows, and I don't know what he wants to tell. So, okay. Yeah, Maddie, it's January 18th to the 26th.
Yeah.
Okay, they sell by the package group of stuff.
So Quartzsite.
Okay, they sell by the packages group of stuff.
Quartzsite, 7 months out of the year is a truck stop. And for about 5 months out of the year, there's a bunch of people living out in the desert.
Yeah, Maddie, there's nothing really to check out, even when there's a lot of people there. I mean, there's like a lot of flea market type things, and then when the big tent gets set up, there's a lot of RV related booths and stuff like that, work camper booths and stuff like what we work. And if you've seen those videos that we've done, that's what Quartzsite is.
But for $180, you could stay out in the desert,
right,
and get water, dump your tanks, and trash service and all that, and you can camp. No hookups.
Right.
We stay for 1 month, and it's $300 plus electric, and it's a no frills campground. I mean, there's no laundromat or nothing.
No pool. Yeah.
No. They got like a little game room where you could go in and play cards and stuff like that, but that's about it. Yeah. You never been in there? No. It's by the office there. But anyway, there's nothing. The most exciting thing there is
Steph, we just got home.
Is when we have a campfire.
I don't know, like 2 o'clock. Sorry, I meant to text you. Been busy since.
Yeah, we made it. We had an interesting night last night, but you can watch the video or we can talk later. I'll tell you, it was crazy, man. I think a mom threw her wedding ring out of the window on the way, and with her phone and the GPS. I don't know what it is. We have 2 different GPSs, and they never get it the same. No. Mine will say turn left in 2 miles, and hers will say turn right in 3 miles. It just.
Scott says planning on a trip that includes fireworks sales for you. We'll call Mike for sure. I was too lazy to type. That was the phone typing it out. Oh, Ronald. Yeah. It's fine. We got what you meant.
When are we all going out?
To Quartzsite.
Oh, okay. Are they having Ironwood again or whatever?
We'll go out the beginning. We're usually there the beginning of January.
Yeah, and then we stay the whole month. Yeah. And we'll probably do that Ironwood thing again for a couple of days, but we're gonna park somewhere where our generator doesn't irritate all the snowflakes.
T&L, the only thing they sell in bulk at the moment. Haven't tried the product yet. Okay. Got you.
Oh.
Bill just said the food there wasn't any good. He and John went, and it wasn't that great.
The breakfast wasn't that great, but I would try it again.
Hey, Zach. Welcome.
All right, Zach, he's one of our customers. Man, you got to watch this from the beginning, Zach. This video.
Yeah, we had lots of fun after we left Kentucky.
Anybody that hasn't seen this from the start, that's just coming on now, you need to just stop right now and go back to the beginning and watch it, because you will not understand.
What was the name of the park you guys stayed in, and do they have monthly rate? Do you know what that amount is? Yeah, Ronald, it's $300 a month plus I think 17 cents per kilowatt hour of electricity.
It's like about $60, 50
or so. I think it was more like 70.
Was it?
But in that neighborhood, because we ran air, but Yeah, and if anyone is planning on going,
No, it's lazy, like LAZ dash DAZE.
Pep Tink knows how to spell it.
Did he spell it?
Yeah, up here. LA-Z dash DAZE.
RV park. And it's on Wriggles. It's when if you're coming from the east and you're heading west towards like California, the first off ramp coming into Quartzsite, you get off and that's Wriggles, and then you make a left and you go over the freeway, and I think it's the second campground, and you'll see that there's a big sign that says Lazy Days, and if you want to be near us, because we do campfires at night and stuff like that up until once the show starts, we're done for 10 days. Nobody sees us. They'll see us come home, go in, go to bed, get up, and then go back. But up until that point, and then after it, we do fireworks, or not fireworks, but we do campfires campfires every night, and just kind of hang out, talk, and enjoy the night. Yeah, meet new friends. There's Mike and Lisa's excellent adventure. Hey, I didn't know it had hey at the end.
Hey, that's Canadian. Oh, hey, not A. Hey, Mike and Lisa. If any of you don't know, Mike and Lisa's excellent adventure used to be Megavan Mike.
So. Yeah, he's not such a Megavan anymore. He's a Class C guy.
He's still Mike, but now he's Mike and Lisa's excellent adventure. So if you're wondering who that is, say hey.
You stole our name. We were going to do Darla and Bill's excellent adventure, but we haven't figured out how to do the excellent adventure part. And there's Terry Burns.
Burns and Wes. I know you're in earshot, Wes. Hi, guys. We made it back. Again, if you guys missed the beginning of this, you can play it back and hear all the wonderful fun we had.
And one thing that was cool was the very final sale, the very last thing we sold was one of those great big huge Godfathers. And the people had come in and they were hem-hawing around. They had been in and bought stuff before, and they kept looking at that thing. And I said, "Well, do you guys really want that?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well," I said, they said $800. I said, "Yeah, that's the best deal." And I said, "But let me call the owner and see if he'll eat the tax on it." They go, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." So I called him, and he's, "Okay, all right, yeah." He said, "Okay, we'll take it." And that was it. We loaded it in their car, and away they went. Yeah. So.
Malachi, we didn't sell any of the Godfathers. You will. You definitely will.
Yeah, the thing with the Godfathers is people that want a lot of different stuff.
Right. Or they just can't decide on any one thing. They're just like.
And if they walk around the store and they get the same stuff, they're going to spend over $1,000.
Way over.
So I mean, there's mortars, and there's Roman candles and fountain. I mean, there's everything.
It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit of everything. So.
Yeah. We've had people tell us that if they non-stop fire everything off, it takes like 4.5 hours.
Yeah. How much is tax in Kentucky? It's like 6%. Yeah. So it was like $40.
Yeah.
But it was the last day, and there was nothing going to happen, and so we sold it. Yeah. Liza Jane.
Liza Jane. Hi, Liza.
Liza Jane.
Liza Jane.
Liza Jane.
I love that name. It's pretty.
Yeah. It wouldn't fit me.
You're not pretty.
Oh.
Well, we did have a little kid. I know we're after 8 o'clock and we're going to wrap this up, but this little kid, he was so, what's the word? Gregarious. I mean, he was just friendly, had a good attitude. He was probably like 6 years old, and he desperately wanted to touch Bill's beard. So he let him. He's like, "That's so cool." We're like, "Are you gonna grow one?" And he's like, "Well, I can't yet." He was really cute.
And he was a little Muslim kid. That's
Yeah.
what was a trip. His mom had all the
Haji.
burqa or whatever on, and anyway, and he was just really out there. I mean, nice and polite and great, but very sociable.
Yeah, very sociable.
And
not afraid at all. Most kids look at him and
he goes, I really like your beard. Can I touch it? And I said, you want to? And he goes, yeah. And I go, yeah. I go, okay, just got to go like that. And he did. That's what he did. He just went like that.
So, yes, you definitely need to call them today. I mean, they're not there today right now, but call them tomorrow. If they don't answer you, leave a message. They're not real good about calling back, so just hammer it.
And we're in J aisle. That's 50 amp.
Just tell them you want to be by Bill and Darla McLean. They know us. We've been there. This is like going to be our 9th year, something like that. But anyways, just tell them if you want to. I mean, it's a big park. You don't have to be by us, but if you'd like to, be near us. They have 50 amps and stuff like that. Just tell them you want to be near us or in the same row or something like that.
So, where the cool kids are.
We definitely encourage everybody that wants to go to get in touch with them as quick as they can, because those do fill up.
Yeah. You know what? You guys have no idea how many times I've thought about this going. I was going to make a video. I was thinking the other day I was going to tell Darla, let's do a video. I'm going to cut this off. Because it's hot, you know.
You have a cool beard. Bill and Darla are pretty wild. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, well, Mike and Lisa were with us last year at Quartzsite.
Wild.
Yeah, Lisa.
I was in Hong Kong, saw a whole city block of fireworks go off. Oh, man, that must have been really cool.
We had a roll of firecrackers, and it was like, it was 16,000.
It took 45 minutes for all the firecrackers to go off.
Well, you could roll it out, and you light it, and then you just roll it out in front of your neighbor's house, and you light it, and then you leave.
That's okay, Two Eggs. We'll plant you in there in 2026.
Oh, they're not going to Quartzsite.
No,
that's right, yeah.
They're going to Alabama.
Ron, are you going to Quartzsite this year? Or have you checked in with Lady on it yet? Now you got a woman in your life, you gotta ask for permission. Even though it's a woman Boston, still a female Boston. What's wrong? What? What? What is it?
Never mind. Anyway, guys, it's late and we're exhausted, but we thank you all for tuning in. And if I could just say one more time, please, if you believe in prayer, pray for our friend Wendy and her family. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.